This is the X&C Podcast, your Xbox newscast, featuring Colteastwood and Gaz, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, X&C Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the Xbox newscast. What's going on? This is Colteastwood, the man you heard before, or the old dude you heard before. Welcome to the Xbox newscast. This is episode 77, if you can believe it or not, and I've got two really great guys here with me. First of all, we've got Jay Fonzarelli of Fonz Gaming, who is he's a veteran. He's a veteran of the gaming scene. Fonz has got 7,000 subs. He's got 500,000 views on his channel. He runs Games Talk Live. I was on there yesterday. So, Fonz, welcome to the show again.
I didn't even realize I had 500,000 views at all. Like, okay, that's cool. Didn't know that. But I do have a paltry amount of subs compared to yours. But you know what? It's because you do great things here. And I'm just somebody who's an old guy trying to, stick around to this gaming community and, talk about these games and stuff. So, but it's good to be here, because I get to be here with another friend of ours, Alex.
Yeah. And, Alex is, he's pretty famous. He's got, he's right up to, I shouldn't say, you don't want to jinx it, but he's about to hit 34,000 subs. The dude's got, what was the number? I had to write it down. This dude's got 4 million views on his channel, if you can believe it or not. 4 million views of talking about PC games, video games on console, performance, talking about fanboys, talking about Colteastwood. Alex, welcome to the show.
I did a disservice because I actually deleted that video when I went after you.
No,
because I didn't like the white balance. I didn't like the audio. I didn't like the color. So that just means I'm just gonna have to do a new one on you now.
Yeah, with all the production
good
values.
editing and like good lighting.
Yeah, you're pretty proud of yourself. We were talking right before the show started. He's like, I got lights, I got cameras, I got green screens, I got a crew. They come in, they give me like little sandwiches, little club sandwiches. Yeah. The himbo.
Some of my viewers are like, "Where's the green screen?" I bought a oh geez, you can hear that. I bought a 12-foot green screen. So now during my live streams, it's just gonna get even more crazy because usually my chat is very suggestive, I think is the best way to put it. And so they're requesting me to make an OnlyFans. And I made a joke one day. I was like, if you want me to take off my shirt, give me $50. I was like, no one's going to give me $50 for that. And then all of a sudden, a $50 donation came in. So now I take off my clothes for money, like a person who works the avenue on a Monday night. That's very, when it's very dark. So I've decided I'm just going to make it even more exacerbated. I'm just going to get up and dance now with a 12-foot long green screen and put on a show.
You can do the whole kick with all leg extended, the whole deal. Yeah, we appreciate it, man. It's been really cool to see you, to see this growth in more ways than one on YouTube. Because running a YouTube channel can be a different animal, but once things start moving and you kind of get into the groove, it's really cool. And I see that smile on your face, so you're having.
When you said more ways than one growing, I thought wasn't thinking that.
No, but we do have a lot. We do have a lot to talk about. Let me give a shout out real quick to the channel members and veterans and Patreon people. These are people that support the show all the time. I'm going to read this list. It's I roll out this long list here of amazing people. Brian Harris, Mark Carwell, KY Bob, Assassin Lupa, Jazzy Newbox, Ricky Fallon, Stephen Smith, Maurice Baker, Zimic, Ralph Wiggum, Manic Master, Matt Burns, William Lanza, Nano Polymyth, Udana Kizada, Robert Jackson, Lord Starkiller, Dante Moody, Betamax, Dark CMF, Gaz, Fox Storytelling, Reek Havitz, Fault Line, Zenner White, Devario Tube, DeBlue, Poochie, Remix Gaming, V Simcoe. Hold on, we're almost done. Assassin, Raymond, G-Thub, Liar Thatcher, Hargy, Johnny, TK, Chillin, Rain, Blade, Acute Perspective, 277, Risk for the Biscuit, Wadani Sadasso, Greg Loudon, and CJAD, 93. But yeah, thank you everybody for checking out the show. It's also running along the bottom, nice and slow for people, who let me check my glasses. But we got a bunch of stuff to talk about, guys. Let's get started by asking you what you've been playing, because there's a couple surprises. Fonz, get started. What have you been playing?
God of War, Ragnarok. and I've been playing in my underwear. No, just kidding. Different show.
Nice.
Look, man, I've been playing a lot of God of War Ragnarok, and you know, I've got some mixed feelings on it here and there. But overall, I'm really enjoying the story, really enjoying the game, the gameplay, the combat when it's there. I'm loving that. But you know, we've talked about this yesterday about God of War. It just
we'll
seems like
talk about that in depth with Alex as well. Because I want to get that's like a whole can of worms to open up. So just God of War Ragnarok and the PS5. You haven't like dabbled in anything else?
No, Xbox sucks, so I'm not playing on Xbox. So.
Xbox is MIA in 2022.
No, I'm just
Alex,
kidding, people. Xbox doesn't suck.
What have you been playing,
It doesn't
Alex?
have any games.
What's caught your attention this past week or so?
I am playing two specific things. I'm playing I Am Setsuna. It's made by Share Factory, like a subsidiary of Square Enix, where they make like all those really try to like emulate all those classic old SNES games. Is really what they try to do.
Okay, cool.
So it's a really great game. The soundtrack is all piano. It's fantastic. It's really cool. It's really just chill and mellow. It's a great JRPG. And I'm also playing Torchlight Infinite. That is in early access right now. If you guys know anything about me, I love ARPGs. So Path of Exile is one of my big favorites. Diablo 2, Diablo 3, Wolcen, Undecember, playing a lot of stuff like that. But Torchlight Infinite isn't too bad. I'm trying to find out when the monetization kicks in. So it's also on phones.
Because it's free?
It was it's free. I was very skeptical because I did a very... No, well, I can't stand NFTs, but I was very skeptical because I really lambasted Diablo Immortal. Even though Diablo Immortal does some things really well, everything else is just atrocious in that game. It's right off just everything what it does. So I'm waiting to see what it's going to do to simulate Diablo Immortal or how it's going to apply that. So I've always been a big Diablo head and just like those kinds of games. So I'm playing Torchlight Infinite, just trying to just get my claws around it, but I'm getting dragged back into Path of Exile again. They're doing another expansion for 3.20. The game's been around for 10 years, and that is a free-to-play game, and it's one of the best monetized games you can ever play. Like the monetization in that game is unnecessary. You don't have to give them a single dollar to play that game.
Yeah, I played it for a few minutes like a few years ago when it came to console.
Did you get to the skill tree?
No, I don't even remember. I think I just tried it out. And what about this Vampire Survivor? Everyone's talking about it. There's I know you're kind of gathering up a video possibly to make like your next production on, but everyone was talking about it. I had to try it out, and I'm like, oh, this is pretty interesting, but I suck really bad. What can you tell us about Vampire Survivor,
That's
Alex?
One of the best games to lose time in. The best part about it is it's in chunks of half an hour, which I think is incredibly smart. Also, you can, in fact, kill the Reaper.
I've never even seen the Reaper.
So you haven't even gotten like half an hour into the game.
I can only last like 22 minutes in the
cool.
game before like when the big swarm closes in.
Right.
And I just like I don't know what to do.
So stop picking garlic.
What?
Garlic
I thought that was the best.
No, garlic is a crutch. What you want to look for are items that you can combine to then have higher level items. So like a big one that you could pick is Duplicator. That is the most important one in the beginning until you get Duplicator in your actual gold stash.
Chad, have you guys seen this game we're talking about? Has anybody played it? Let us know in the chat if you've tried out Vampire Survivor. It's on Game Pass.
It looks
it's an
amazing.
8-bit. Now, what do you think of it, Fonz?
No, I haven't played it yet, but it looks like something that would be, maybe a good little party chat game. When you're talking to people and stuff.
You say that until you play it.
Yeah. No, I look, those types of games can be very addicting. I get it, especially on a Steam Deck, right?
Yeah, I've got it on my Steam Deck, actually. It's actually right here. I was actually playing it a few minutes ago.
Oh, there it is. That's proof. I got a second monitor so I can see the cam feed.
I've actually got a
here.
Steam Deck here too, by the way.
Which one did you get? What size?
The 256 gig. Yeah.
It's a good middle ground.
Yeah.
It's a good middle ground. You can replace the SSD in that on your own if you want to.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard. Yeah.
Yes. Even if you get the 64, you can remove the eMMC memory on it and just put an SSD in there.
Won't that void your warranty though? No.
Valve created it as a right to repair device.
Wow.
That's good. That's real.
Valve's awesome. Like they've made that device as right to repair, so you have the right to repair that device unless like you purposely damage it. It's nuts. So so even iFixit has every single part as a replacement available to you to purchase. So even if you break your screen, you can replace and do it yourself.
Nice.
The right to repair.
Ah, wow. Don't you wish consoles were like that? Hey, and then when my PC breaks, I'm like, someone help me. Alex, help me. What do I do?
Yeah.
I got
throw it away.
Throw it away.
Neil B with joins the early access or channel membership. Neil B, I see you all the time, and welcome to there. You'll get early access to videos, and then you get giveaways that I do. So Hargeet Chani says Somerville is a 77 meta. That's a Xbox exclusive made by the guys and people that made Inside and Limbo. It's more isometric view than side view, I guess, side-scroller view. And apparently, yeah, it's not so much the banger at a 77 meta. So Hargeet says Somerville is a 77 meta and Pentiment is an 87 meta. Thought Somerville would do better, but Obsidian delivers another hit. Great studio for Xbox. Let's talk about Pentiment for a minute. Let me take the exclusive. Let me take the reins because I've had this game for almost 2 weeks. I've only played a couple hours and I don't like it.
Did you hear that? 2 weeks, 2 hours.
Better for 2 weeks?
Almost 2 weeks, yeah. At least almost 2 weeks, I think. I don't know. I could go back and look at the email. And I've played it for a couple hours. I don't find anything that I would enjoy. I was really surprised this game scored really well. You can go and check the hall of tweets, the Library of Congress on Colteastwood. I've never, ever hyped up this game. I never thought it would be something I would like. I had this feeling that it would do well because Josh Sawyer is really talented, but I just couldn't find anything redeeming in it. Alex, what do you think of Pentiment? What have you seen? What's your opinion on the outside?
I think it's a lot of reading. I think if you don't like reading books, you're not going to like the game.
I don't know how to read, sir.
I feel like that's going to be the case. I mean, right now I'm reading a Blade itself. So I like fantasy, I like high fantasy novels and stuff, so I read them all the time. But I feel like that game's strength is going to be its writing. I feel like if I were a betting man, it would be similar to trying to read the lore of Pillars of Eternity without having the actual like combat mechanics in Pillars of Eternity. Okay. I feel like not playing the game, just looking at it from the outside in, if you like the lore of what Obsidian makes and that's what you like to read, I feel like that's going to be the game.
That would be good. That would be good if it was based on the lore of like Pillars or like a Skyrim. Like if you take the time to read the books that you pop up in Skyrim, you could actually be entertained pretty well. But this is a murder mystery surrounded by religious people and artists. Fonz, what's your take on this game? I got to hear what you have to say in public about Pentiment.
I'm not into pop-up books. I read occasionally. I do like reading some books, high fantasy and stuff. I like Dragonlance Chronicles and stuff like that back in the day.
Dragon Tales.
Dragon Tales, no. But I don't. When I look at this game, there's nothing about it that screams, "You have to play me." It doesn't speak to me whatsoever. So for me, I'm out. I'm not gonna even try the game. It's just not for me. And I love Obsidian. I think they have great writing. Josh Sawyer, great writer and stuff. But I don't know. I can't get myself to play something like that.
I think it's just missing the stuff that you and I don't know so much for Alex. I don't want to speak for you, but I think it's sort of missing some of the things that draw me toward playing a video game over sitting down and watching something on TV or reading something. And I've read my occasional books, but
it's probably just the mechanics. That's what you're looking for. Like what gameplay mechanic can I get into?
I want to be able I was just gonna say I want to be able to roll over the back of somebody and pull out a submachine gun in that game, but I just couldn't find any submachine guns in Pentiment. But go ahead.
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna be similar to. I mean, you said that it was a murder mystery, which is kind of wild to me. I never expected it to be that. I mean, that I feel like it'd be a game you would be able to play like in bed at night. You're just like, I'm gonna play this for half an hour before I fall asleep.
Oh yeah,
It's like reading a book. Just like reading a book. I'm gonna read this book for half an hour before I pass out. Kind of a deal. And it's not for everybody. That's fine. I mean, I'm probably gonna enjoy it because I like weird games. Another weird one that like I really enjoy is a let's see here. I have it in my Steam library. It is it's a bunch of games and it does like point and click. It's really I'll find it in a minute, but like just really obscure games I've always liked. So I don't know. I might enjoy it and I might not. Who knows? Depending on the writing, how strong it is, I think is going to be the difference.
I think the writing is strong.
Just froze up on me. But I'm.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah,
you're looking better than ever, Fonz. Yeah, I think the writing's good. I was also talking to a friend of mine who was reviewing the game and said that they had played it for a couple hours and they just didn't get in any part that caught them. So I was surprised to see an 87, but IGN gave it a 10.
Yeah, it got some 10s. Yeah, I was seeing that and I was like, oh, okay. But I can't really hate on many games out there because look, I played that as Dusk Falls and I really liked it. And part of it was the story, the narrative. I really liked it. I went back and played it a second time to get different results and a different ending. And I thought it was a great game. And, so I can't really talk much because there's not really much gameplay to that game as well. So,
well, I mean, it could be relatable.
Like.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
But it's what it comes down to is the source material. What are they talking about? Is it something like you said you can relate to? With As Dusk Falls, you got a family, you can kind of relate.
I don't relate to a 15th century artist.
Yeah,
and
it's tough.
Wherever
it's tough.
Yeah, I don't know. That era of history is not particularly. It's not something that's often referenced in TV shows and movies. I don't think it just seems like something I might see on a History Channel. But
and I don't think anybody's ever said, "Man, I wish I could live in the 15th century." Nobody's ever said that. So
I don't think no one's ever said that. But I think it's cool if it's. I think the idea of it being a murder mystery is what's intriguing me more with that game. I think the fact that like I was always into high fantasy anyways, like that would be cool for me. So like being in like that era wouldn't bother me. But like if the characters are intriguing and and what's happening is intriguing, then I'll be down. I'll be down for it.
15th century Clue,
Well, it also does. So I didn't get into the part where you pick your background and your background gives you access to certain dialogue choices like all Fallout 3 and New Vegas. And I didn't get into that. And so I assume that later on, Paris in the chat talking about how it's not going to appeal to everybody, which is absolutely right. It's a very different game than anything we normally see any year. But there are choices I suppose you'll make that will be available to you depending on how you chose. I set up my character. It's so weird. You can set up your character's background, like what you studied in university or what's most important to you. And I'm like, I don't know how to role play this game, but I'll kind of, if I was in 15th century, this is what Colteastwood would be in. And I chose certain studies that I would have chose if I was that person back then. And everything smells like horse crap. But I never got to see where those would pay off. What's that?
Is there like a character alignment chart?
Sort of.
Awful good, neutral, chaotic evil, chaotic good. Is there that kind of an alignment?
I wouldn't know. I think there might be because you choose a lot of different background choices that are supposed to take place later on in the game. And apparently it worked.
Yes. So then those choices would be your character alignment and so that would determine how you answer certain questions.
Yes.
Like what role you would play, whether you want to be like chaotic neutral, chaotic evil, awful good, awful evil, that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's what I like. Like Dungeons and Dragons. I'm probably gonna like this game then. So yeah, that's probably gonna fall like under my category. Yeah.
I would be curious to see what you have to say after you give it a shot. Hargeet Chani made a really good point in the super. He just said, all this hate for 15th century, and I know Hargeet's like his smiling anger when he wrote this. He says, all this hate for 15th century. You know what else is in the 15th century? Ezio's story and Assassin's Creed. Not a good period. He's like, I loved the Assassin's Creed series. So I'm dead wrong.
Yeah,
Yet
but you
again.
don't get to stealth kill anybody in this game, and you're not running around, just whacking people.
I think he got you there, man.
Yeah, Hargy got me pretty good. You also don't get to get into a Leonardo da Vinci tank that he invented in Pentiment. Not yet, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But let's talk about God of War Ragnarok, the best game ever made, until everybody gets their hands on it. Alex, you highlighted a tweet last night that I saw, and I'm like,
Yes.
I don't know. The one about there was a girl on social media that was kind of giving her gripes about this great game. She still loves it, but get us up to date on what she said. Do you remember what the tweet was about?
So there's two tweets. One is from Sophia Narwitz. She tweeted out, critics are giving perfect tense to Sony games that haven't changed since Uncharted 2. But really, the new God of War sucks. It's a relentless barrage of tedium. There's been more hand-holdy platforming, scenes riding animals / boats, and dialogue cutscenes than there's been engaging gameplay. So she got some flack for that tweet. The tweet that I quoted was from Ayini McBeanie. Good name. She says, I'm talking to my friend playing it, and he's like, I'm having fun, but my critical part of my brain is telling me that this is everything wrong with how single-player games are designed. It's the best game I can recommend if you absolutely do not understand or enjoy video games. And I have felt like that for a very long time, not just with Sony games, but just like with gaming in the current landscape in general. I feel like like I'm a developer. I feel like games are so massive and big, and they're trying to appeal to so many people to obtain that amount of revenue to return that they have to then like, I wouldn't say trivialize, but remove barriers of entry for people to play. I think a good example of that is from Dragon Age 1 to Dragon Age 2. Two vastly different games when Dragon Age 1, in my opinion, is incredibly superior to that entire series.
EA does that.
But I've been seeing that. Yeah, but I've been seeing that along just in games in general, and probably why I'm falling back into a lot of obscure games like Path of Exile, like me emulating all my old games from like the NES and SNES and PS2. So I don't know. I feel like it's not that I want to challenge when I'm playing games, but I'd like things to try different. Like,
be surprised.
I would love for Sony. Well, not just that. I want Sony from PS1, PS2 back. That's what I want. That's my Sony, right? PS1, PS2 Sony, where it was like, hey, we got you,
wide
Warhawk,
variety.
we got you, Vib Ribbon, we got you, like you had a game for everybody back then, and it was like,
he's right,
yo, like this is it, man. And like
they spent a lot less money on those games too, Alex.
Yeah, because they were all. I mean, the thing is, they were all mechanics based, and it was like that. There was still eye candy, like Final Fantasy 7 and 8. You were like, FF7 when that thing hit PS1, that blew my mind.
Yeah.
That blew my mind when I had that. Or N64 when you got Mario and you could pull Mario's face in the beginning.
That blew like, your 14-year-old mind back then.
Just nuts, like just absolutely insane. But like that's the kind of creativity I want back. And I feel like we're so focused on textures and resolutions and stuff instead of like gameplay and mechanics. That's why I love Doom Eternal so much. Doom Eternal is like, hey, you want your health back? Go out there and get it.
Come get it. Yeah, but the game still looks good. Doom Eternal looks good though.
And like that's what I want. I want games that like push things. Like Elden Ring for me I think Elden Ring was the perfect example of how you bring new people into a genre, but you'd still keep the core of it the same.
Happy.
And I feel like I feel like Elden Ring was able to say, okay, we're not going to handhold you. We're not going to give you an easy mode, but if you just explore, if you just go and then come back, do something else, you'll be able to succeed. Either you learn it by doing the patterns like everybody else has for the last 15 years, or you do something else. It will give you the different options of doing it. And it's like, got everybody in it, man. People that have never played a Souls game, they're just like, yo, this is the best thing I've ever played. Like, it was basically like it's like Breath of the Wild all over again. Like that
worked on me.
So good.
That whole formula you talked about, that worked for me because I wasn't a Souls fan. Yeah. Fonz, you are 6-7 hours into God of War Ragnarok. You're ahead of me.
No, I'm almost 11 hours into God of War now. And look,
Tell us first. Tell us first what you really like about it before you.
Well,
talk
first,
about the other stuff.
let me go ahead and just back up what Alex just said about PlayStation. They used to have a very wide variety of games back in the day. That is 100% true. I remember all that. They were into everything. But as we talked about yesterday on my show, Colt, it seems like they found a winning formula for them. Mm-hmm. And let's be honest here. Even though Alex may not be too into those types of games, those action adventure third person games that they do offer, a lot of people are. And it's a winning formula for them. So for me, it's a winning formula as well. I love those games. I love most of those games that they offer. Ghost of Tsushima last year was just incredible to me. That game was just amazing to me. And of course, going back to Uncharted and all those, love all those games. And that's why I'm always called a pony or a Sony guy by a lot of Xbox guys, because I love those types of games. And I want to see Microsoft at least adopt a game in that vein, that style
on an
of genre.
Xbox podcast. How are you a pony?
Oh, trust me. I get
How does
called
that make
everything. Back and forth. It goes back and forth. The Sony guys don't want me. The Xbox guys don't want me half the time.
You're in the
I'm
right
somewhere
place.
in the middle. Yeah,
you are in the right place because Alex, he gets called an Xbot and he doesn't even own an Xbox console. So
I love my consoles. I own everything and I love my consoles. But at the end of the day, talking about those types of games and everything that Sony makes, it's just a winning freaking formula. That's all I got to say.
How long does that formula going to last, Fonz? How long until that formula becomes completely passe?
I think it'll last for as long as they keep doing it, man. I don't think. Look, I think they're on the road to starting to get other genres and stuff because they have to. And we've talked about this with the ABK deal, coming through pretty soon next year. They're going to have to do something with their their games over there. They're going to have to make these multiplayer games. And that's what they're doing. They're currently working on a bunch of live service games because they need them to work for them. Unfortunately, for the one that they did bring out, it's already gone. Babylon. Babylon's
Fall.
Yeah,
Babylon.
That was one of the first ones, live service games that they put out there, and it's gone already. So that didn't stick. But they've got to keep trying because they've got to make these stick. I mean, we've talked about it a lot. The industry's changing. So they've got to conform. They've got to conform to a certain degree. Maybe they don't have to totally conform. They can keep these, cinematic games, as people call them, because they're very beloved. But they have to conform in other ways with the services, putting, first party into these services day one. That's going to be a thing in the future for Sony. I don't care what people say about their, they're never going to do day and date with their first party games. Eventually they will. And I've talked about this years ago as well. I've said it on RDX years ago, exactly what they're doing now. I said, it will just come a time when you see that window shrinking between release dates, coming out, say on the PC when they started putting games there. I said, one day the release dates are going to just shrink. The time in between the PlayStation 5 releases and the PCs are going to shrink. And then one day it's just all going to be their day one on both, platforms. Same thing with their services. That's going to happen. It's that time frame, that window there will shrink, and they will get all their games their day one for sure. That'll end up happening. I don't know how long it's going to take, but it'll happen.
It'll seem like an eternity, but
right now, if you look at the PC release dates, it's already shrunk to a year. Well, where before it was like 2, 3, 4 years, whatever. That's shrunk.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that winning formula, because Alex was talking earlier about how he's pushed himself back to play retro-ish games or retro-inspired games. Alex, you remember back, we've all played like long ago when games were so much different. They were turn-based, strategy-based, point-and-click, adventures, side-scrollers. There was the introduction of 3D perspective games, but a lot of these games aren't in the overall popular. There was buildings and sim games and all kinds of sim style games. Those really aren't in the community anymore. Right now, the only thing that matters is the shooter, the third person shooter, or the third person action adventure open world game. Like that's kind of like the only thing. And tell me about this, because back in the 2000s and when the 2000s started, we played all these other genres that are kind of dead, right? Is that how you look at things?
I wouldn't say those genres are dead. I think what's happening is you're seeing the rise of indie. When you're looking at, I think what we're seeing is AAA games being more safe. I think that's what we're seeing is AAA games being much more safe, much more by the numbers, much more by the book, and that's where things are getting stale, because we used to expect a big AAA release like God of War 2 on the PS2 or Devil May Cry 3 or God Hand, you know, like all these great PS2 games, and you were just like, yo, this is crazy. But I think now it's like, okay, we're pumping all this money into development costs, into marketing costs. We need to have our return. I think what we're seeing, well, what I'm
There's like
seeing,
a list. There's a list they have to go by, right?
Being on the PC side, it's like, yo, you want to try this weird ass indie game? It's like, yeah, this is weird. Like, I want to see games that are indie start mimicking the PS1 generation, because they were doing the retro 16-bit kind of stuff. I want to see what they do with like what Kojima did with the PS1, where he made like that, like the wiggle of the polygons thing. You remember that? Like it was like he like fuzzed it. Oh, dude! If you go back and you play MGS1 now, it's a freaking marvel. Like, how did he do this?
Yeah.
But like
it was, and we knew it was a marvel back then. Yeah.
Or MGS2, where you could shoot the ice cubes and they would melt. In the PS2 era, like this nuts. I think for me, what we're seeing is those genres are being pushed into more of the indie space. I think that's where a lot of the big stuff. Like, I'm a huge proponent of New Blood Interactive and also Devolver. Basically anything New Blood Interactive or Devolver put out, I'm buying it. Like, I don't even look at it.
I went to PAX and Devolver had this four-sided, it looked like an old style theater in the middle of the PAX room at Devolver Digital, and all of their games were like really unique and really cool. What was the game?
Has a cool look to it.
There was some game that said something foot, where you go, it's a first person like shooter game where you kick all the doors open with your foot. I
think that's a New Blood game. Is that the one where you're like an old timey gangster?
No. I got to look it up because I was with my wife at PAX, and every time we saw that foot game, we were like, that is so cool.
I know what you're talking.
Angerfoot.
I've seen Angerfoot.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it right now. Angerfoot.
Yeah, if I was Asa from Game On Daily, I would put that up on screen right now, but I haven't figured that stuff out yet. But yeah, everyone was lining up to play Devolver Digital stuff because they're really cool.
Like the Plucky Squire, that game looks amazing. Like, if you're talking about like visual fidelity, the Plucky Squire is just an unbelievably good looking game. So like for me, Cult of the Lamb, if you haven't played it, I haven't tried it yet, but I know I've heard great things. McPixel 3 is coming out, like that's really good, and like New Blood is just full of stuff. Like, if you want to play a game that's similar to like Thief back in those old days, they've got a game called Gloomwood, which is basically if you took Thief, the Metal Age, and Bloodborne, and you put it together, and that's Gloomwood. Like you don't get that today, right?
No,
like, you don't get that in a AAA space, but you get that in this sort of genre. So I think people have just retreated more into that kind of thing. But I think it's hard for indies to get that massive exposure. It's rare that you'll get it like Hades. It's like everybody's playing.
Oh yeah, it's an anomaly.
You're playing that.
You know what I don't love, Fonz? All these games that Alex is talking about, it's always the crutch to go, we're going to make this an 8-bit or a 16-bit game. Like, I'm kind of getting tired of the pixel-bit retro thing. Does that stuff bother you, or are you fine with it?
No, it does bother me to a certain degree. There was that shooter that was on Game Pass that I tried that was like
Proteus.
And I
love that game.
It's very cool.
The game is cool because it's a lot like Doom, but it looks a lot like older Doom. Like, and I'm just not into the retro look. As old as I am, I'm just not into it.
You love that, Alex. I just don't like looking at the pixels anymore.
Oh God, it's so good. I love how it's like chunky and like it has like the best way to. It's got like grit. to it. I think is the best way to describe it. Like, yeah, I know the
It
pixel
just
art
looks
isn't like
really
the best.
old. That's the
Yeah,
best way to
but it's-
describe it.
Like everything has weight to it, right? It's all voxeled. It's like like the enemies it comes off in chunks and it's just it's like it's
like
just
cubes and
oh.
blood, and it just
Yeah.
Yeah.
it doesn't interest me.
good.
Man. Doesn't
It's
interest
good though,
me.
Fonz. It's so good.
No,
and the
no,
music's really
I'd
great.
rather pick up. I'd rather play
when
Doom
you get
Eternal.
the minigun and just everything's just turning into paste. Oh, come
I'd
on,
rather
dude.
just play Doom Eternal, man.
It's
It
actually
looks
a
so
better
much
Doom 3 than the Doom 3, I think, because
Yeah.
Doom 3's art style doesn't really hold up, but Proteus is like kind of timeless. Even though I do get sick. I'm looking at the replay, Alex doing the minigun. Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know. That's
I have
the
a
Pixelwood
problem
thing.
with going back to that type of art style in games, or even 2D side-scrolling games sometimes. Like, I have a hard time getting into them, and I used to love those back in the day. But it's
because
just like
we've evolved.
my
but
taste has evolved, exactly, and I can't go back to some of that stuff. Now, sometimes they could do something interesting that'll bring me back into it, and I'll play it and I'll enjoy it. But it's very hard for me to find a game that looks old that I can get into.
So which
very
ones do
hard.
you like?
Can't remember the last ones I played like that, but
you like that meat hook game. I could never remember the name of it. The meat
I forgot what it was
slappers.
called.
Meat
I forgot
man-
what it was
meat-
called. But that didn't have a pixel look at all. It was the art style was different, but it was no, it was not Meat Slapper, Cole.
I could never remember
called
the
Meat
names. Like
Slapper.
it was called.
It looked kind of like Hades in a way. It kind of
Yeah.
looked like that,
What are
but it
you
wasn't a
scrolling through
roguelike.
It was
Steam
on
where you
Game-
get into the meat slapper section.
It was on Game Pass.
it's
and
on
you
Game
just
Pass. And
destroyed-
you're slapping meat left and right. No, I don't know how to
No,
name
you're not
meat into
slapping
it.
any meat, dude. That sounds like an Alex game.
That's my kind of game.
Meat slapper
Su-
with Alex.
They're like Meat Boy, super meaty. Gosh dang it! Now I'm gonna look it up while I'm trying to do the show. Game
No,
Pass.
I just like new games. I like new tech. I like innovation. I like graphics being pushed, but at the same time,
Right.
I want my frame rates pushed
can't-
as well. I don't want to play a game that looks amazing at 30 frames. It just
I don't think. I mean, it's strange that I think people would want that nowadays too.
and people do. They argue with me on Twitter all the time. I'd rather have my 4K resolution. I'm like, but why? Like,
oh my gosh!
I
me,
mean,
that's
1440p
it's such
at
a-
60 is such a better way to play. It even looks
Mm-hmm.
better in my opinion. Like the smoothness on the screen looks better. And of course, the feel, you can't beat it. You know, of course, if you go above 60 frames, yeah, but it just high frame rate is the way to go. And that's the way I'm playing God of War, by the way. Just to get back to God of War we were talking about. God of War, the high frame rate mode is awesome. With VRR on, you're getting, anywhere between 80 frames and up. But it's amazing and it looks great. It feels awesome. Combat's great. The story's great. The voice acting is incredible in the game. I'm loving all that. I even like some of the stuff that people don't like out there. Some people don't like the whole Atreus stuff, but I do.
Yeah, I like it too. I don't mind
like
it at all. I
And,
don't mind
and,
it at all.
and in the moments that people are really, there's one area, and I'm not going to talk about it, other than to say that the
Stop it,
point
chat.
where people complain so much, the where you spend time in a certain area, you learn a lot about the character, and you learn a lot about, and you do something very important in that.
You have to read in
area.
that part.
No,
'Cause I don't like
you're
to read
listening
in
to a lot.
games.
No, listen, you're listening to a lot of story and stuff, and a lot of dialogue and stuff. And I think it's fantastic, because it's well written. If it was
It is,
poorly
yeah.
written, I would not like it. Like if it was The Last of Us 2 trash writing, no, I wouldn't want to play it.
Oh man,
But
you're
this
starting
is good.
fires out here, Fonz.
I don't care. The Last of Us 2 is a horrible, unsatisfying story. There's no gratification at the end. You just feel like you played a depressing game.
Yeah,
That's
it
it.
was.
That's-
It was
That's
depressing.
what
That's
he
it.
wanted, Fonz. That was his vision.
He did.
you're
He said,
into
"I
that-
want you to feel a certain way," and I'm like, "I don't like
Yeah.
it, sir."
Yeah.
Hey,
I don't
good
like
old
it, sir.
Collingwood. Good old Collingwood has a super. He says Alex doesn't play games. He plays fanboys. I think that's a
Right.
compliment.
You know what?
It is.
Yeah.
Do you put
but
him over your
mean,
knee
that's
and play
why
him like a fiddle?
Well, look, I'm triple S rank playing fanboys. You guys know about Devil May Cry. It's my favorite game. DMC 5 and 3 are my favorite games. But yeah, like, you know, it's I don't know, man. Though, like, I can understand The Last of Us being the way it is. Like, that was his vision. That was what he wanted. But I can understand the backlash 100%.
And you know what? And there was nothing there in that story that made me think, oh, that's a very bright individual that wrote this. It honestly was like an elementary school kid could have wrote that, because it's not very intriguing at all, and it doesn't have anything that like shocks you at all. It's just like
there's three times in the story.
Bad.
There's 3 times in the story when I'm like, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Why are you going there? Why are you leaving? You know, but this isn't the Last of Us 2 spoiler cast.
I've talked to a couple of authors. I have friends that are authors, legit authors, and write well. And they think that The Last of Us 2 is a horrible written story. Horribly written story.
You know what was better? It was Ghost of Tsushima that year. Ashtray Gaming says, have a great show, guys, from Australia. Like, we don't know Ashtray's from Australia. Of course he's from
I
Australia.
didn't know that.
He's
Good day,
he's
mate.
amazing. He's amazing. Red Wolf is a friend of mine, says, if you're an XNC Club member, there are 3 unredeemed game codes in the feed. I have not checked that all week. He says Darksiders Remaster code, Jedi Fallen Order code, and Red Faction Remaster. Red Faction, what was it called? Remastered. That was actually a really fun game.
Oh my God.
Do you remember that game, Alex? Red Faction?
I do, but just the naming convention.
The remastered?
Yeah, like, come on, bro.
I made fun of that game.
Put Mars in there.
And then I played the remaster, and I was like, this game was okay. And then I played the remaster. I'm like, this is really fun. You don't get games like that where you get to knock down whole towers. Crackdown 3. Yeah. But, yeah. Hey, Black Cobra says, hey, Alex, how you doing? You better answer him.
Pretty good, hey.
You know, a lot of games a lot of developers did move away from destructible environments. That is something that they really haven't concentrated on in a while. And we used to get games like that all the time, like Alex was saying earlier.
Singularity had destructible and reconstructible, so did Red Faction.
Red Faction.
We're missing the big one. Battlefield
Bad Company
2.
Yeah. There it is.
The best. The best Battlefield.
Yes. Speak.
The best one.
Yep. And they won't do a...
They won't go back.
They won't go back. Why? Like, wasn't that the golden era back then? Or at least still in the golden era?
I don't know. 42 and Bad Company 3 were the 2 best ones.
Yeah, they were great.
I agree.
Space Dovakin, thank you so much for the super. He says, it's great Xbox is letting this genius minds like Sawyer do personal projects and letting their creativity run wild. I do have to say, real quick, that when we were talking about the winning formula that PlayStation uses, I don't think, and I tweeted this out last night, I don't think Xbox is following PlayStation very much, at all. Because I don't see some of the stuff that they're making that even follows the paint by numbers. Your character has to be able to climb. Your character has to be able to, have a young child that they're escorting through the wasteland, right? There's a whole bunch. What are the other tropes, Alex, that they were complaining about?
I'll tell you this. I think that's what Xbox is missing.
No, I agree. That's what I've been saying. They need one of those.
I think they need a good one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I do.
I think they also need to still fix Halo, but we can talk about that another day. But
Halo
I mean,
Infinite, which got an 87 Metascore, was snubbed by the awards today in favor of Stray. Everyone,
that's super weird. And
but you know what? How about this? No, Fonz. Halo Infinite does not deserve to be nominated for any sort of award.
I'm not. Look. The game itself, I had fun with that game. Okay, but
I did too.
You're right.
Launch,
You're right.
I did too.
But what I'm trying to say is, Stray. I mean, what did it get? An 83 maybe?
What if you just look at the campaign?
And if you looked at Stray, it's a 3-hour campaign.
Campaign versus campaign.
On rails. It's on rails, and basically there is button prompts when you're able to jump. You can't jump anytime you want as a cat.
So the joke is it's a journalist game.
There you go.
There you go. Said it.
Go ahead.
You said it, Alex. And don't
It's a
worry,
game for
this
game
is
journalists. Yeah.
this doesn't demonetize you at all, by the way. It's
Oh
free.
my
I'm sorry for you losing your sponsors, your connections, and everything else.
Oh
But
my
yes.
gosh. Yeah, the Stray thing's weird. Like I've spent hours on the show and on my
weird.
channel explaining how Halo Infinite doesn't deserve to be damage controlled for or whatever, right?
Oh, it doesn't.
I
But
love the
see,
campaign, but holy
I'm
crap.
just grabbing at other games besides Stray. Like
Don
there's
Sicaro says,
other
what about
games out there
Tunic?
that are
Like,
so much better.
Tunic
would-
got some nominations.
Tunic is a better game.
Tunic.
Like why
What else?
Stray?
What else? What was that one game? Immortal. I think I saw that game Immortal on there. It's nominated for something. Let me see.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, Immortal.
It is nominated for something,
Yeah.
but not for Game of the
I
Year.
mean, I would have
And
nominated
Here's the kicker.
Tiny
Here's the kicker.
Tina's even.
Here's what's funny. Stray is also nominated for Action Adventure Game of the Year. What is
about-
going on? That's look,
what
and,
about-
and it's not. I don't really care at the end of the day because I have my own Game of the Year, award in my mind. I know what's
Sure,
Game of the Year
sure.
for me, but it's just weird to have that game nominated, and so many people are asking why. So many people out there. So
What about
It's just
Xenoblade Chronicles 3? Why wasn't that for Game of the Year?
I think
Yeah, that one got nominated. Well, it did, didn't it?
Oh, not for Game of the Year.
not for a Game of the Year.
It wasn't? Plague's
No.
Tale Requiem? Actually, I should have actually had the Game Awards. Let me get
I
that.
don't see Plague's Tale Requiem. Why that would be on there for Game of the Year as well?
You don't understand why it would?
Yeah, I don't understand why that would.
Did you play the first
Like,
one? I have not finished. I'm
did.
only a couple hours into the second one.
Yeah, I played the first one. I don't understand why the second one. I mean, that wasn't even really critically panned. I mean, it wasn't critically liked, so I don't understand. Like for me, why isn't Sifu on there for Game of the Year?
Yeah, that's what a lot of
That's
people are
better.
saying.
That's even better than Stray.
Why not Neon White? Like, why not?
Oh yeah, Neon White
You know,
was
like-
really well liked too. I don't know how many people.
I don't get that. You know,
Hey,
like
hey,
I'm
Fonz
just
Horizon
looking at
Forbidden
stuff
West
here.
is on there.
Is this a clown show?
Yeah, we knew Horizon was going to be on there. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
I
we
mean
did.
that was a shoo-in. That was going to be put in there for sure. It's beloved by critics for some reason. Boring game, but hey, it's loved.
You and I gave
loved
up on
by
it.
many.
$60 well wasted.
I gave up. Yeah,
I love
60
the
bucks
first
wasted.
one. I love the first one. I don't know what to
I
tell you.
liked it too.
I'm not a jerk.
They doubled down on the boring, unnecessary dialogue, and Aloy is just doubled down on that boring.
There's a big difference, Alex,
She's just
from
boring.
the exposition or dialogue in Horizon Forbidden West and God of War Ragnarok. Like when Kratos and Atreus or whoever the characters are talking, like it's really enjoyable to listen to how they deliver the content and the stories that are being told, the way they interact. Like it's perfectly done. Like you're watching a really great movie. But when Aloy goes to talk to like the head of the village, it's like it's just like the most boring exposition, like in every sense of the word. And I just found no motivation to keep going, I guess.
I
and
haven't
you were
played a
just
Horizon game yet, so I can't say.
I'm trying to paint it
I
for you
would
because
love
Fawn knows
to-
what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I would love for Alex to try Horizon Zero Dawn, the first one, and
I'll play the first one.
it's
Here's
it's
the
a
difference.
decent game. It's fun. The combat's fun and everything, but the main character, the protagonist herself, is just
Ashley
boring.
Birch, who voices Tiny Tina, and
And it's nothing against Ashley.
She's
Birch
really
because
good. She's just
she's
not-
good in Tiny
she's-
Tina, and she's
No,
good in
I
other
just
things.
What?
haven't heard that last name in a very long time. Don't Google Anthony Birch.
oh, I said Ashley.
No, her brother Anthony.
Great. Now you got how many people out there? Hundreds of people.
They used to do a
Googling.
show together on game trailers or
No,
whatever, G4
no.
TV.
There's a whole thing about Anthony Birch. Just don't.
Don't do it, people.
So you know what? If you're ever having a bad day, at least you're not Anthony Birch.
You know what? I'm gonna remember that because I'm gonna have a bad day tomorrow, I bet. And I'm gonna Google it. What were we saying? Oh, Horizon Zero Dawn. The first game was really intriguing because you're finding out why the Earth has been prehistoric again. Right. There was really bad things were happening, technology breaking down, into the world stuff, and it all unfolds as you go along with the game. Then you get into the second game, you already know why they're here. there's like no motivation for me to whatever. I don't want to talk about that game anymore.
You're talking to different factions, and they're, at odds with each other, and they're telling you to go talk to this guy. You talk to him for 10 minutes, and then you go get into a
Jim
dialogue
said he was
going to
do my taxes on an abacus, and it just didn't work out.
By the time you're ready to go back out into the world, you've had 25 minutes of dialogue, unnecessary dialogue, just fluff. And that's the kind of stuff I don't care for in the game. And I've tried to go back to it 3 times because I hate wasting money on games, especially. Like, even if I don't like a game and I spend $60 on it, I try to beat it. And I've tried 3 times. I've went back to it, and I've really put in effort, and I just get bored. I end up shutting it off. It's just good for me.
I don't feel that way with Ragnarok. Ragnarok's really, really enjoyable.
No. It's really good, but there is moments in Ragnarok for me. I'm not a big puzzle guy in games. I know God of War's always had puzzles, and I'm fine with it, but I've always had a lot of combat that goes along with that, with those puzzles in a God of War game. Here, it just seems like there's a lot of walking, talking, puzzle, and then you get 2-3 minutes of combat, and then it's back to walking, talking, puzzle. I don't know. That's the way it feels.
Let me read a couple supers, and I want to talk about the reactions to Ragnarok, because Alex kind of has a shoe in with that. Let's see. Dead Planet, thank you so much. He says, does the Sony game formula strike anyone else as very Marvel-like? The games are very samey and seemingly cut from the same Sony formula cloth. End quote. I'm going to add to that everyone is praising God of War for referencing other PlayStation games. Like, they put little Easter eggs. Have you noticed this, Fonz, that PlayStation games reference each other or pay homage to each other's games and make it sort of part of the PlayStation Studios universe?
Yeah. And they'll even put they'll even put collectibles from other, like, little things in other games.
Like a Vita laying here, or they'll reference something that you do in Uncharted,
or a doll from an Uncharted, from a Horizon game or whatever. You'll find things from other Sony games within their games. That's something.
Yeah, but I think that's a neat thing.
It is. Cool. It's cool. I don't have a problem with that.
I think it also, like, helps bolster up the PlayStation Studios, like, really support each other. And I was when I was this is new to God of War Ragnarok. You can run over and there's a big stone rock, you can grab it and he'll swing it and throw it at an enemy right out of Spider-Man. And I know that they borrow these mechanics from each other because it's not stealing, because they all kind of working together. And I think it's cool. And don't be surprised you see Xbox do that among their own studios. Highlander, who's been a member 5 months, says, wife got me a PS5 tonight. It is going next to my Series X with my Steam Deck in front. Alex, I should be going home Wednesday. He's going home.
Nice. Highlander! So Highlander has been in the hospital for like longer. So he's been donating to my stream for a while. He's been in the hospital for about 3 weeks plus. So every week I've been taunting him relentlessly that if he doesn't get better, I will visit him in the hospital. I will
with
make
your
sure
shirt off, right?
Yeah, and I will just berate him verbally until he gets better. So it's finally happened that he's going to be leaving Wednesday. So I expect you to be watching Saturday, you clown. I insult my audience too, by the way.
Oh my God!
I'm glad you're coming home, bro. I'm glad it's awesome news.
If you haven't watched an Alex live stream, you have to do it. Do
it's an experience.
Don't watch it around
kids. It's fun. No, definitely not. But I tune in about every Saturday. You know that? I'm in the chat a lot. I'm listening.
I do. I see you. And so Gaming Addict and some of the Iron Lords, they wanted to have me on a Sunday, and so they watched me on Saturday. And so the week before, they were like, "Hey, you coming on?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll come on, no worries." And I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna stream Saturday, so if you want to check it out." And then Saturday, they all saw the stream. I finished the stream around 1 a.m. And like the next morning, I get a DM. Hey, look, here's a couple of things we got to talk about before you come on the show on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'm ready for it. What is it? And so it was like, hey, so the language, we gotta stuff like that. But I'll tell you this, I only do about a 4-hour stream. When I'm done, the next morning I feel like I'm hungover, even though I don't even drink during my stream, because it is 4 hours constant. It is nonstop.
High energy.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a
Lights
very
on
high
you.
energy stream. Yeah, it's
Yep.
a very high. It's like it's really intense. There's always something going on. It's never like like, oh, let's just watch this in peace and not have anything. It is constant, and I read the chat all the time, and it's one of those where I'm just like mentally exhausted. I don't understand how people can stream for 8 hours a day. I couldn't keep that same energy.
Shout out
for
to
8
the
hours.
Lords though for their 6-hour
Yeah.
podcast.
Jeez.
6-hour podcast. They're
Sometimes
like, oh, we
that
started at
happens
1
with
o'clock,
them. Yeah.
and we'll be done at like 9.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Rand's podcast, Xbox 2 with Jez Corden, they run about 4 hours lately, but they're not on camera. And I tell Rand, I go, it's not the same. Like, I got this
it's
big
different.
light with this big camera on me watching my every move, and then I got 2 lights over here, and it's like, I sleep well after a Monday night, but it's so worth it because the chat's awesome. Having people like you guys, having the guests on and co-hosts and all that stuff, super, super fun. Let me read a couple supers here. From my man, Gaming Forte.
Forte's amazing.
Be on my show sometime, bro. I got to have you back on. I've had him on like 2 or 3 times. He says, what it do, gentlemen? Just dropping by to show some love. Been crazy busy the last few weeks at work. Been listening from work weekly with AirPods on deck. He's just walking around, just strolling around, checking out the show. Forte's awesome. Uncle Chowder says, love the panels tonight. Glad I caught you live while I play some Modern Warfare 2. Modern Warfare 2. There we go. I love you guys. Hope to catch an XC Party Chat soon. Keep up the great work. Yeah, we'll be on Party Chat once I get done with God of War because I got to be listening to that because, good exposition. Zero Pile says, thank you, Zero. He says, don't like the trend of fanboys bashing small budget games like Vampire Survivors and Pentiment. Alex, let's get into your neck of the woods and talk about God of War Ragnarok reactions because there had to be some Xbox guys that were seething with that 94, and then there was like the curveball that came out of left field that caused you to do your video. So how did that all go down?
I was ready because there were quite a few people who were just like trying to downplay God of War Ragnarok's Metacritic score, and I was like, you know what? Like, it's a Metacritic score. We knew the game was going to score well. We knew the game was going to be accepted well. So like, why are you even upset? Like, there's no point to be angry about it. I saw people trying to compare it and saying that it's not good because it doesn't compare with Halo Combat Evolved, the game that's 21 years old in Metacritic score. I was like, this is the length that we're going. And it was going to happen. I was going to make an Xbox fanboy video. Then PlayStation fanboys said, hold my crack pipe. And so every week it never changes. It's so incessant. I mean, I've got a couple of Xbox fanboys making videos on me, which is fantastic. Which I might do for content as well. But it just, it becomes this thing where for the last year, I've made the meme like every Thursday, somebody is going to do something stupid on a Thursday. And
So
it has not changed for the last year and a half.
I know
always a
you
Thursday.
always say you won't let me rest on a Thursday. Like
You
they're
won't let me
always
rest.
ready.
And even Paris, who's in the chat probably, he's like, hey, it's Thursday. What's going on? Like, what are you doing?
He's so lucky he gets to sit back in the bushes and see what
he
pops
just
off,
gets
right?
to sit and watch.
Yep.
And then, and like I'll have other people message me and stuff like that. Like people who I didn't even expect watch my content, and they're like, "Hey, it's Thursday," and I'm like, "What are you doing DMing me, bro? I didn't even you watch my stuff?" And they're like, "Yeah, dude. Everyone pass around the office," and I'm like, "Oh my god,
That's so
No.
cool. That is so
Don't.
cool. Yeah, you can almost feel famous for a moment. It's a really cool
Not
feeling.
even close. Not even close. Not even close. I could hit 100,000 subs, and I'd still feel like just a bald himbo every Friday. It wouldn't change.
The gray hairs come
I'll
in,
tell you
don't
this,
they?
No, not even the gray hairs. My chat keeps me in check. So these headphones that I have on, I did this one day, and they moved a part of my hair, and
They saw
it was
scalp.
like and they saw scalp, so they're like, "Oh, you're bald. You're bald. You're balding. You're bald. You're bald. You're bald. You're bald. You're bald." And I was like, "I'm not bald." And so what did that do? Incite the chat to call me bald for the next 4 hours. And now
Yep.
what happens? Now now you're bald on Twitter. Now you're bald in
there.
your
I was
videos.
there. I
Now you're
saw
bald
that.
in your yeah. So it's like, believe me, I could hit 1 million subs. My chat would be like, "Hey, Baldy, we're here to keep you in line." So
Bro,
it's just,
I posted a picture of me on the plane flight to go to LA for the Xbox showcase event, and all anybody could say was like, "Look at that forehead! Holy smokes!"
Yeah.
Paris in chat says, "Yes, give me the salt." Yeah, people are absolutely brutal. But you know, the whole joking about the whole famous thing. You know, back in the day before I did a YouTube channel, you know, I could keep 5 or 6 people, you know, at my audience in a break room, and it was amazing. But now, you know, hey, we got over 700 people here checking us out, listening to us say the same things we might say around the water cooler at work. But yeah, we appreciate it. We do. We really appreciate it. Let's see, where was I?
It's.
Oh yeah, I was
going
to ask you
every day. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to ask you. So you went after the fanboys because the Xbox guys were seething about the 94 meta. They, you know, they didn't prepare themselves emotionally. But then IGN Korea posted a 6 out of 10 on this masterpiece, and what happened?
That was insanity. I did not see. I expected someone to post a score that was not going to fall in line, and you know that happens all the time. Somebody is going to have their own. They're gonna, you know, they have different opinions on games, and somebody just may not like the game. That's fine. And so this reviewer who I've been in contact with, he was getting death threats. He was getting called all these racist things.
Oh,
it was just like it went from like we're seething about a Metacritic score, and it's like, okay, you guys can sit on the sidelines for now. We've got a whole other set of things to roast today because this is trumping everything that you guys have I thought would be ideal. But it was just really bad. Like I actually got angry when I was making that video because of how insane people are about one review score from a website that isn't even counted on Metacritic, but only counted on OpenCritic.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. IGN Korea was not counted for Metacritic. It only counted for OpenCritic. And even then, it didn't even bring down the total score of the game. It's still a 94 on OpenCritic.
Sure, yeah.
So it didn't even impact anything. It's like I'm thinking about making a video about Donkey and Sonic Frontiers, where he made a video, he's bashing Sonic Frontiers, and they dropped the user score from an 8.6 to an 8.4. People are losing it for that. So it's this kind of like ridiculous ideology of like having to protect a product instead of just enjoy the product. The Metacritic score never mattered. You're going to play God of War anyways. Why do you care?
Yep.
Jeez.
So like, what's the point?
What about you, Fonz? What was your reaction that morning?
To the guy giving it a 6 out of 10.
Yeah,
I thought it was a bit weird, but at the same time, like I don't care. Like I was still excited to play the game. None of these scores affect my life at all. It doesn't affect my enjoyment of a game or you know, I don't pick up a game ever and say, so-and-so from IGN didn't like this, so I don't want to play this anymore. Like, I don't care what they're saying about the game.
Doesn't the Metacritic score...
It doesn't bother me. The Metacritic score is only there for fanboys, I think.
Doesn't the Metacritic score ever affect your ability to pull the debit card out of your wallet and make the purchase? Like, isn't there a threshold, Fonz? You got to admit, there's a threshold that if a game's yellow or it's in the low 70s, you don't know if you're gonna drop.
No, I've learned this a long
$60.
time ago when it comes to
don't lie
any kind of media. Like when it comes to so years ago, I mean, when I was younger and everything, I learned about this with movies. Critics just don't like certain movies that I may love, you know? And so there's always been stuff about games and, you know, whatever you're in that, you know, when you see a review, it just doesn't coincide with your thoughts on the game. And that's usually what I do is I talk to people like you, Dealer, people that are like, I know that like certain games that I like. And
that's easy. That's natural.
You guys are usually the ones that'll tell me, hey, I think you would like this game. And usually you guys are pretty spot on. And there's been times where, you know, dealers sent me a game just to be an asshole. Oh, excuse me. You know,
he sent you Godfall.
He knew I didn't want to play that game at all. And he sent me that game just out of the blue one day. He goes, hey, I sent you something to play. And I'm like, oh, thanks. I go over there and it's god awful. I'm like, really?
$20 just to troll you.
Awful.
Really?
That's really
And
funny.
he bought like the big edition, whatever it was, with like all the content. I'm like, I'm never gonna play this.
Now you have to. You got to platinum it, bro.
You have to.
Oh no, he said at least put like 15 minutes in and give me a small review. And so I did. I gave it like half an hour, and I was like, dealer, it sucks. I don't like the game. So
I think
don't
you have
know.
to find a reviewer or a streamer that has the same sort of taste that you do, or similar taste, because
Yes,
then you can
yeah.
be like,
There's
so
reviewers
like
that
for
do.
me,
Yeah.
I love, like I said, action RPGs. So I will watch Quinn69. He's a really great streamer from Iceland, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, where he's from.
He's the only streamer
No,
there.
New Zealand. He's a streamer from New Zealand. And so he loves action
Iceland,
RPGs.
New Zealand,
So
same thing.
it's the same
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
And so if he likes it and he's able to play it and he's like, oh, these are the things I think about it. Like, yes, like totally. Like Carnage is another one who I really like, who have the same tastes. Asmongold, if you want to like do MMOs or RPGs and stuff. Like, you have to find a streamer that has the same taste that you have, or the same sort of opinions. And then you can be like, oh, okay, I can, if they recommend something, then I'll probably check it out. But like, just going off a score, that doesn't mean anything, like.
So I really like Skill Up a lot. I really respect his stuff, but I've noticed lately the games that he says he doesn't recommend, I've liked. And so I've normally gone along with what he likes. And ACG is another one. Almost every time an ACG says that he likes it or that he recommends it, I end up aligning with that. So that means more to me than a Metacritic score. But lately there's been a couple games that have been critically panned that I'm like, I really liked those.
Yeah.
So
Gotham
you have to
Knights.
be careful.
Gotham Knights
one?
is one of those.
Gotham Knights.
Do you like Gotham Knights?
Gotham Knights combat and progression system is
and
very
customization
good.
was very satisfying.
It's fun.
Yeah.
That's the good word.
Were you
to put it. It's
looking for that
satisfying.
specifically in that game?
No, I was surprised that it had
No.
that. I thought
I had no intentions of playing it either.
Yeah. It's a weird discussion with Gotham Knights.
Colt
Chat, let
got
us
me
know if you
into
played it. Yeah, I couldn't stop talking about it. I'm like, this game's really low rated. I played it on PC because it was stuck at 30 on the Xbox. And I'm like, I'm really enjoying it. It was one of those games. It's so funny. It's one of those games where I would run into my room to play it. Right now, Ragnarok's amazing. I'm going to play it when I have time to sit down and play. But Gotham Knights, like, I found myself like, I'm going to play that tomorrow morning when I get stuff taken care of for my day off, right? And I'm going to sit down and play that. And so I don't know. That's weird. That's super weird. But sometimes you're going to love games that no one else likes.
Well,
That's how it is.
a
with
lot
some
of times too, like, I'm sorry, Fonz. A lot of times too, like, people are just in certain moods for certain games.
Sure. When they
No,
review
but
them.
I think when you get really into a game though, and you're constantly thinking about that game, even if you're at work or whatever, you're like, ah, man, maybe I can make a build like this in this game and do this and do that sort of thing. That is when I could tell I really loved the game, and that's what Elden Ring did for me beginning of the year.
Man.
I constantly was like thinking, maybe I could try this faith build and do this and use this weapon, and I was constantly thinking about stuff like that. And that game, the whole time I played it, not once did I ever feel like I wasn't having fun. And that is a sign of a freaking great game. And most people out there that were playing it at the time were saying the same thing. So that's why I think it's funny, this whole game of the year thing that's that we've got the nominees out now. It's like people forget. It's like they have amnesia about some of these games we played earlier in the year. It sucks for those games.
It was a weird year though, Fonz.
It was, but how many months were people talking about Elden Ring? How many months were people just so engrossed in the game?
The difference is we don't often get pleasantly surprised with video games, right, Alex? And Elden Ring was pleasantly surprising. Like, wow, this did something I didn't think it did, and I really like what it's doing. And even me, like, I know what Dark Souls games are like. I know I probably wouldn't like them, but Elden Ring pleasantly surprised me many, many different ways. And I hope that holds weight for the Game of the Year awards. I mean, for all that matters.
Yeah, but hopefully that's what I was getting at, is the fact that, you have the recent games that come out that get nominated that are more recent in people's minds. So they're thinking, okay, well, this plays a factor in
like
a lot of gamers out there, because they're right now playing God of War and they may be loving the game so much. Even if there's those lulls within the game and they're having, there's at times where they're like, okay, that part's not so good, but damn, this is great here. They're not thinking about, man, Elden Ring, I didn't have any of those moments. I was just having a blast the whole time for months. They're not even thinking about that game.
I don't love
about the
Gotham
here and
Knights
now.
I don't love Gotham Knights as much as I did when we were playing it. Like I was really happy. Now I look back, I'm like, that was a dang good game. But in the moment, yeah, of course.
Oh, Gotham Knights had a lot of faults, but it had some good things going for it that I think a lot of reviewers missed.
That falls like if you play No Man's Sky now.
Yes.
Like I think if you go and play No Man's Sky today, after everything that it's been through and all the updates that it's had, that is a completely different game, and it is a game that I feel if you how do I want to word this? If you, let's say, imbibe in specific herbs and spices, then you play that game.
Gotcha.
That's exactly what Gaz said. Like if you get danked and play No Man's Sky, it already looks like an acid trip on its own.
It is the soundtrack is unbelievable. First of
herbs
all.
and spices,
like
Colonel Sanders.
You just get freaking ripped, and then you play that game. Like it is just going to be like 4 hours.
Have you tried this? Because the heaviest thing I've ever had, the heaviest thing I've ever taken into my body was I fell on a pack of Smarties and snorted them. That's the worst I've ever done. Right?
You've never done any drug?
No. But when I play the game, I'm like I was in party chat with Gaz. He's like, bro, if you were danked on some mushrooms and played this game, and I'm like,
Gaz likes to get down.
Yep.
Gaz likes to get down. That's all
he's in a Thailand prison right now. He's getting caned.
Oh, that's because of the lady boy situation. That's different.
Hey, hi.
That's
what were you saying?
Situation.
We were playing Halo with Gaz one night, and he was so baked he couldn't even talk. He was like, "Hey man, snipe," and that was
snipe.
Dude, that sounded just like him. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So like. I think if you just play No Man's Sky, having a couple beers and just want to chill out and just like vacate your brain, that's a great game to do it.
It's really I think cool. Starfield is going to be one of those games as well.
I don't know, man. I'm really worried about Starfield.
Oh no, I think it's because I've already heard people talking about partaking in some of those herbs and spices for that game.
I feel like Starfield is not gonna. Okay, hold on. Let me backtrack it here. I feel like
take a breath because this is a big one.
All right, ready? I feel like Starfield is pulling the Todd Howard.
Okay.
And when I say that, I want
Howard's
you
have Game of the Year.
Take what Todd Howard says.
Oh, here we go.
With a grain of salt. Because
I have been also had many Game of the Year contenders, brother.
I don't care about Game of the Year contenders. I have been around the block with Todd Howard.
Okay? I have too.
Todd Howard is like, Todd Howard and his games are like Memento. When you flip over the Polaroid and it says, "Don't believe his lies," that's what Todd Howard's like.
Come on. Okay, they lied big time about Fallout 76. Although Pete Hines said it
lied about Fallout 3.
I really like
Skyrim.
What
lied about Oblivion.
He did? I really like what they delivered, but not with Fallout 76. I can't. I cannot stand.
Man. Come on, man.
I cannot Alex, I cannot stand. I have tried 20, 25 hours, 30 hours of Fallout 76. Seriously. I can't stand it. No, don't try to talk me into it.
I'm going to call you out on this because what developer... No, I'm calling Alex out on this. What developer doesn't oversell their game? What developer doesn't overpromise their game?
It's not about
developer doesn't tell those white lies with their games? Because they all do it to a certain extent. They all do it.
Okay, yes, the keywords to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Okay.
16 times the
tell us what he overpromised with Fallout 3
times
Skyrim.
The detail.
That was Fallout 76.
Servers.
That was Fallout 76, yeah, but
okay. Fallout 4, it just works. We're doing
it did just work, Alex. It just worked. You could slap together floors, walls, lights, wires, generators.
I did it.
It worked really well. You know what didn't work, Alex?
Is
what didn't work was you can only put about 50 items at Red Rocket on console, and you were stuck. That was it. No more building here. Sorry, no more RAM. That sucked.
They literally relaunched Skyrim Legendary Special Edition in my third anus version Okay, on the Switch.
game is amazing.
And it still has the same bugs from the vanilla version from 11 years ago.
Yeah. Classic bugs.
Stop. Don't tell tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies, and we fall for this every time.
But those are retro bugs. They're meant to be there.
Those are classics.
Well, you better stop. Look, man.
Leave my Todd Howard alone. All right, I know he lies, but I like the guy.
I love
Justy Spud says Starfield has 32 times the detail.
No, I seriously look. When it comes to Bethesda games, I love them. I love Bethesda RPGs.
Hit the like button if you're having a good time.
Fallout 4 wasn't the best for sure, but I liked it. I still liked it. For me, New Vegas.
Yes, Fallout 4 was missing some very important decision-making RPGs. The dialogue system was not RPG system. But I've been playing Fallout 4 lately, and I'm like finding all the things I really did love about it. But
it's fun.
New Vegas is like
New Vegas is still the top.
The best.
What was the point? Okay, Fallout 4. What was the point of showing me what the main character looked like?
Oh, I know.
And then the second I get to go and make my own character, I'm morphing his face in front of his wife into a completely different person. And why'd you show me what he looked like?
You don't do that in real life? You don't get in front, push her out of the way of the mirror and just go,
I want to look like Colteastwood today. Let me just rearrange my face.
Look like Dollar General Colteastwood?
The Outer Worlds is a better game than Fallout 4. It's a better RPG.
I really like Outer Worlds, but is Outer Worlds doesn't RPG it up enough for me.
The problem with I love Outer Worlds. I think it's fantastic, and I think as an RPG, it's better than Fallout 4. However, what I don't like as much as I do about Fallout 4 is the environment. It's not big enough. It's not a lot of exploration to be had.
That's the problem. It's smaller scale. It's smaller.
So
what does Outer Worlds do really great? What does Outer Worlds do really great for you, Alex? I really like it.
Narrative is great. I think the narrative is great. But again, Obsidian, they're fantastic at it. The RPG elements are great. The gameplay is fun. It just needs a bigger scale.
But the second half of the perks, I didn't even want to apply because I didn't want to even use them.
What?
Yeah, that's how I felt. I really liked Outer Worlds, but I got halfway through the levels and the second half of the perks, I'm like, I don't even want to use a point on these. I don't even want these.
There's a lot of perks that are actually negatives.
Yeah.
Okay.
They do have some.
That's what it is. A lot. So you have to have the positive with the negative, right? There's a bonus to that perk, but then there's a takeaway to that same perk, and that goes in line with like, what kind of role playing character are you? Like for me, I just basically did, I'm gonna be the main character from Firefly. That's my character.
Oh, that's
I wear
cool.
A trench coat, I slick talk, and I got a laser pistol. That's what I'm fucking doing.
And yeah, somebody said in the chat, the companions are better in Outer Worlds.
Companions are way
much better.
Yeah.
Much better. And of course, that goes back to dialogue and writing, though. That's honestly, I think Obsidian is one of, if not the best studio there at Xbox now. They're fantastic.
I think once them and In Exile get moving, you're gonna have probably some of the best Western RPGs under the
you don't get Western RPGs right now until Bethesda's
done. The problem is, Alex, we're constantly saying over here on the Xbox side, wait till next year. Wait till next year.
But so I will
one day that's gotta stop, right?
Can I be real about this for a second?
Yes.
Please do.
Can I give X
for 3 seconds at least.
I got to give Phil Spencer his flowers for a little bit. There is no other person on this corporate America side that was able to take a burning, garbage, sinking trash fire of a ship that was the Xbox brand during the Xbox One era. It literally was almost completely gone because of the whole Don Matrix situation and all that stuff going on. Take that, literally write the giant burning trash fire ship and set it on a course to be somewhat successful in that short amount, in just a few years. I'll give Phil Spencer his credit where credit is due.
I give him credit for that as well.
The thing is, I think it took so much more work to undo the damage that happened during the Xbox One that it was almost nigh impossible to even try and get out the studios, the exclusives, the game development, because there's so much other fires to put out that were so much more important.
And games that were already set in motion to not come to Xbox or to be multi-plat, right? For many years.
I think now, I think now that the ship has finally been righted in some conceivable way, they're going to be doing whatever they can to bring games. However, games take time to make.
They take way too much time.
And they take a lot of money to buy as well.
They take a lot of money to make. They take a lot of time. They take a lot of money. So the wait till E3 is still going to possibly happen.
Oh, it's already happened.
But I will say this:
talk to an Xbox
once
guy.
as long as Xbox doesn't trip over its own feet, I think they will be a phenomenal competitor to PlayStation. How long it takes, I do not know.
It takes another year.
That's what I
think it starts.
honestly,
Honestly, it starts next year. It starts next year with Starfield, Redfall, and
it starts in January. I think January, February. Yeah.
Redfall has not impressed me. The 4-player co-op FPS was peaked. It peaked in Left 4 Dead 2, and it's not coming back.
Now that's the difference.
Yeah. The
difference is, I don't think Redfall is anything like Left 4 Dead. I think it's supposed to be more like an open world Borderlands game with classes.
Well, they're also pushing it as a single player game as well, not just being able to play co-op with your friends.
You're also not going to be mowing down hordes of vampires. So you're not going to be mowing down, 2 bullets to kill a vampire as you mow them back and forth.
Those old bones are still there.
I hope not. I hope not, because Arcane's made some pretty amazing stuff. Let me read a couple supers here. We got I love it. Rambling Entertained, thank you so much. He says, I knew it.
I saw that one.
Oh no, I'm balding is an L-box chill. His bottom energy. Couldn't resist it. Also Stray for the win. Fight me. Yeah. Danny Passion Official says, I returned Horizon Forbidden West after 2 or 3 hours of gameplay. Well,
not for everybody.
No
game is for everybody.
No game, yeah. Cloaked Onyx says, I don't understand the hate for Horizon Forbidden West. To me, it has the same formula and feel to Mass Effect 2.
Oh, no.
No. That's one of the best games ever made.
No.
I'm glad you said that, Alex, because I think it is one of the best.
He's got me stuttering here. The dialogue, everybody you come into contact, the companions and everything, are nothing like Horizon Forbidden West. It is just on another level of just boredom over there. Mass Effect has some of the best narrative in a video game, period.
It's so good.
For him to compare that to Horizon Forbidden West is a bit odd, because even the people that love Horizon Forbidden West don't think that its narrative is its strong point.
No, that's their complaint. Aloy's personality and the narrative in the game. But it is a dang looker, and the mechanics feel great.
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Highlander says, I will miss the sponge baths. Of course I will.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man. Congrats again for getting it out of a hospital. Nobody even wants to be there for a minute, and that's amazing, bro. David Kirchhoff with the €10 says, I just want to say hi, great show. Greetings from the Netherlands. I want to come visit. Just, send me an invite. Crazy Cracker 8031 says, tell Alex, oh no, it's Keeps. Man, the slander.
Oh, no! So, all right. So the my chat has been very incessant. They want me to get a Keeps sponsorship.
Do it.
So I said the specific sponsors I would take would be Bad Dragon, Adam and Eve, Keeps, or Manscaped would be the 4 that I would take.
Don't take Manscaped.
If you don't know what Bad Dragon is, keep it that way.
Oh my gosh. I've got too much stuff that I'm not going to Google later. Highlander says another one. He says, Alex roasts Xbox fans and Xbox content creators, and we all laugh. You do it to Sony fans and content creators, and they block and insult you. Games should bring us together, not tear us apart. Oh, if it were so easy.
I've only been blocked by 2 people.
What?
One, yeah. So I've only been blocked by 2 people. I've been blocked by Xbox University.
Mm-hmm.
I've been blocked by that Odie guy, that PlayStation fanboy Odie guy.
Oh, the guy who made fun of Xbox fans on Veterans Day.
This guy.
That guy.
So those 2 guys blocked me.
It's this guy.
Is a toddler.
That's it.
Play it again.
So those.
Zoka is a toddler.
Oh, Zocker? You mean the Kirkland downward thrust with his thumbnails? I got you.
Yeah, the amazing thumbnails.
I mean, look. If I wanted to make thumbnails in MS Paint, I would too. But you can just pirate Photoshop. Photo P is available, and that's a free software you can use in your browser. You
The
don't have to have
Safeway
thumbnails
Select downward
and-
thrust.
Safeway Select.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Shout out to Zocker.
Yeah,
Shout out for
sometimes,
Zocker who thinks the Series S is gonna be, is doomed. That's a funny one. Red Wolf says, "Here's half a tank of gas. It's all I got this week." Red Wolf, stop. Geek
That's
the
all you
Sneak.
got. Don't
Half
give
a
it.
tank.
Geek the Sneak says, "Palms were greased is all I'm saying." I wonder what palms were greased. I wonder what that was referring to. That was like 15 minutes ago.
Maybe game of the year.
Game of the year,
nominees,
probably.
maybe.
Maybe. I don't know.
So many Sony titles, but I don't think that's it at all. I think it's just it's the journalists and stuff that nominate those games, right? They pick them, right?
Do you think there's a little bit of Emperor's New Clothes that's an old reference for people who are probably, born after the 1980s, but do you think there's an Emperor's New Clothes thing with journalists with a game like Stray or like Pentiment where they're like, I have to show I'm highbrow and that this game is, elevated above the, dichotomy of whatever. Is there some of that going on, Fonz?
With Stray? No. Gosh, no. Stray doesn't even represent what it's supposed to represent, a cat. And a cat's supposed to be... Come on, cats are rude. They're vicious. I wanted to use another word. But
are you talking shit about cats?
No, I like cats. But come on. They'll jump up on a table and push off a cup on purpose.
Yeah, they will.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
They like
Onto
doing
your
that sort of
Series X.
stuff, right? In the game, you can't even do stuff like that. It's you have to wait for a button prompt in a certain location to jump.
My friend's cat crawled into the Lego box when I was staying the night at my friend's house. He jumped into the Lego box, took a crap, jumped out of the box and left. And when we woke up in the morning, it smelled really bad. That's what cats do. They crap in your Legos.
You know why?
That
That cat took a shit there? Because they didn't clean the litter box for the cat, and the cat had to find somewhere else to go because the litter box was filthy.
I'm more of a dog
what
person,
better than
though.
a box of
That's
Legos, right?
It's any box, doesn't matter. But that litter box should have been cleaned.
That's why I like dogs.
And this Cat Tips is brought to you by Oh No, It's Alex. Cat Tips every evening at 7:30. Danny Passion Official said, please don't laugh. I'm over 50 hours in Tetris Effect. Game's great.
It's a great game.
It is
That was a good one. Yeah.
Highlander's got another one. Highlander, thanks, buddy. He goes, I played No Man's Sky on something, and it was like when I went to see Pink Floyd's The Wall. Oh, it's classic.
Yeah.
It was trippy. No Man's Sky is a good game now. Sucked when it released, and I fully discovered it this year as well. Like
I tried to play it. I can't get into the aspect of the mechanic where, when you're on the planet, you have to watch your meters and stuff, or you're gonna die. Like
you have to get used to that and figure it out. But it can be kind of stressful.
I'll tell you.
It is.
And like as you level up and stuff, that stuff becomes not irrelevant, but you worry about it a lot less.
It's more of a non-issue. Yeah, I can tell it's probably something like that, but I couldn't get into it because of that. I just kept
running
dying.
out of fuel becomes a real or hyper thruster fuel can suck. Johnny put in some chat, some game codes.
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn, Days Gone, which is a great game that Sony gave up on. I don't know why. Maybe they have their heads up their butts. And God of War 2018, which is a classic. It's a 4-year-old classic. Thanks, Hargeet. Felix Ortiz says Halo Infinite's best open world.
Halo Infinite's what?
Halo Infinite's best open world.
You notice what was there, right?
No,
Crickets.
I like the open world ring, but it was a bare minimum, and I really liked the campaign.
Yeah,
all you needed, Alex, was to have like the Pacific Northwest part of the ring, and then like as you went up higher, there was the snowy part up in the mountains, and then you went down here, and there's like a jungle, and then over there was a desert. Then the game would have done way better. Just the same thing over and over.
I have put over 100 hours into Halo Infinite. You ready? Mm-hmm. I've never touched the campaign.
Really?
Do not care.
Yeah.
Do not give a
I'm
shit.
more of a campaign guy when it comes to.
It's not that I don't like the campaign.
Even without the story, Alex.
I think 343 is not capable of making a good Halo campaign.
I think they did. Halo Infinite's a decent campaign.
Yeah,
good.
It's a good
How about
campaign.
this? The best.
It's better than Halo 5 for sure. It's not as good as Halo 1 or 2 or even 3.
The best Halo campaign. You ready for this? Best Halo campaign is ODST.
Yes.
The best Halo campaign is ODST.
Yes, it
That
is.
the best campaign.
I don't agree, but
It's got the best
You guys can hype
atmosphere,
it up.
the best characters, the best music.
the best characters, the best music, the
got
best
Nathan
atmosphere,
Fillion
the
front and
best
center.
story, Nathan fucking Fillion in there.
Yep.
It is the best campaign.
I get emotional when I think about ODST because it just hits all those.
get emotional because you're a woman. Cole.
You know what, Fonz?
I'm just kidding.
Boy,
Oh,
you'll
man.
be a woman
Boy.
soon.
Boy.
What was I going to say? Oh, Alex, you're missing
You
out
said
on.
boy, you- oh.
Yeah, that's something that Fonz and I sing when we're talking about
Yeah,
God of War.
that's an inside-
Boy,
that's an inside joke.
You'll be a woman
Woman
soon. 'Cause
soon.
We sing that a lot. What you're missing
we
with the
sing to
campaign.
each other.
we do. We sing to each other in parts. Yeah. What you're missing on the campaign for Halo Infinite, Alex, is going out and there's like these outcroppings of enemies or fortresses, and you can go in there and pick the way you're going to slaughter all of them. Even if you didn't do the story missions, like that part is super fun, and that's really good.
Okay.
That's a good part of the open world.
I mean, it's on my games to beat. So like,
I have a lot of those.
I got to mention Carolina in the chat and a bunch of other people that were saying it earlier too. They're like, "Well, what does Fonz like?" Because I do a lot of complaining on games. Sorry, I do.
Fonz
I
likes most
complain-
stuff.
I complain a lot on games, but I do like a lot of stuff. And I mentioned it earlier. Elden Ring. I didn't have any problems with it. I loved it. Played the game and I found it to be fantastic. Red Dead.
You're just an old.
Love
you're just an
Red
old
Dead 2.
curmudgeon.
Fonz like, let me
a lot
tell you
of-
what I like, but I got to go back 3 years.
Yeah, you know,
You loved Gotham
Elden
Knights.
Ring, Elden Ring is this year. That's what I was saying. That's so far. That's my game of the year. I'm going to see how I feel about God of War after I beat it. But right now, I'm leaning heavily for Elden Ring because I had a blast.
Yeah,
I loved
yeah.
it. So good, so good.
Let me see. I got a couple more.
As
Fun
Dusk
speculation,
Falls, that was
Mav.
another one I liked.
Which one?
As Dusk Falls is another one.
Oh
I
yeah,
liked. I
that's
played it
another. You
twice.
just have to listen between the old crankiness that we all
Yeah.
spout
Between the
once in a while.
times I'm complaining like every other minute, you know. I don't know.
Yeah, in the same way. Mav says,
old.
thanks, Mav, for hanging out. He says, Stray, laugh out for real. I thought
Yeah.
this game was just excited to see awards for new trailers, for awesome games. Hit the like button, everyone. Great show. Mav, thanks for hanging out, bro. Scott Woodford, thanks for the super. He says, I'm just playing the Toe Jam and Earl. It's a great game. Is that an old
going way back to
remaster?
Sega.
That's
way
that's
back.
a way.
That's Genesis right there, man. That's 16-bit goodness right there. That was a fantastic game back in the day, but I can't go back to it.
Toe
but
Jam and Earl also had the
great.
Super Scope.
They had Toe Jam and Earl. They
Super
had
Scope.
I think was
Yeah.
that the same developer that did Earthworm Jim or no?
Wait, it was Sega. It wasn't Nintendo's Super Scope. It was Sega's one, right? Yeah, because Toe Jam and Earl was a Sega game. Yeah, it had like the Sega Scope, like the Sega one.
You mean the peripheral? I wasn't watching you on the live feed.
So yeah,
Yeah.
the Super Scope was the
Super
big
Nintendo
bazooka,
had a
right?
bazooka scope thing.
It was a bazooka.
It was a gray one. Yeah, the Super
Yeah.
Nintendo. I had that thing. Yeah, you could play Narc, and there was some other game. It worked on. It worked on some other games. Hargy says Alex Joe Staten did ODST, and he's the one that oversaw and changed the Halo Infinite campaign. You should try it with a smiley face or Staten. I always say it's Joe Staten.
I always
try
say
it.
Staten as well.
Yeah,
So
it's Staten.
I'm gonna try it, but I don't think. But Staten isn't where he used to be.
Don't
I'm gonna try.
don't
it.
go in thinking
But
that
I won't
it's
like it.
gonna like blow your socks off. Just go.
No,
in
I
thinking
mean,
it's a decent
It's
little
343.
story.
What are you gonna expect?
You get
No,
the
five.
the different locales when you go
got
into
it.
like a building.
Play
So.
play through 5 and see how bad that was, and then go right into Halo Infinite. Gets much better.
Yeah. So let me go eat shit, and then that way,
Yeah.
when I eat
These
done,
brownies are delicious.
Yeah.
Poochie says, "Sup XNC fam, just curious what you guys think will show up at the Game Awards show from Xbox. Let me start with you, Fonz. Xbox has to show something, and it's not going to be Hellblade 2. So
It's got to be Avowed, brother. It's got to be that Avowed. I want to
That's
see
what
some
I'm thinking.
gameplay from Avowed. Obsidian's got to bring that. What would get people hype about Xbox again outside of Avowed right now? Because we've already seen enough of
Banjo-Kazooie.
Starfield. No. You son of a...
I would be okay with Banjo Kazooie.
oh, Alex.
Alex, stop it. Stop it.
Yeah, I'd be down for some Banjo Kazooie. I'm not gonna lie.
What do you think they're
No.
going to show,
Like
Alex?
Avowed, man.
N64
They gotta
style
show Avowed.
Banjo Kazooie.
I'm looking forward to Avowed. I want
Avowed.
to see it.
From
Yeah.
Obsidian. They're way overdue to show that. Alex, what are they going to show at the Game Awards? Xbox has at least one that reveal they want to do at the show. What is it going to be?
I think I am leaning towards Avowed. I would like to say, like, just out of nowhere surprise, it would be like just Wasteland. But like Wasteland 1.
But that's not going to hype people up for the brand.
What about an Exiles game? They're supposed to be
That's an
doing a
Exile.
steampunk RPG. There's no
something
steampunk
new.
games other than Dishonored, I think, if you call that steampunk. Are there any steampunk games that you play, Alex?
Hellblade 2. Steampunk games?
Yeah, they showed Hellblade 2 last year. It was like an 8-minute gameplay reveal.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
think it's
are there
ready.
any prominent or steampunk games that come to mind? Because I can't really think of any when I think about an Exiles game.
So there is a series of games. It is robots in steampunk. What's it called? Let me Google that real fast.
Steampunk Robots, the game.
That's what I'm typing in Google. Steampunk robot game. A Steam World. So Steam World Dig, Steam World Heist. Those are the ones that come to my mind right now.
yeah.
But those are indie games.
Hargeet said that they're going to show a mid-gen refresh.
Hargeet, how dare you? Hargeet's been
mid-gen
drinking the
refresh?
Kool-Aid, talking to Zocker about the consoles like completely dying and not being able to run. Alex, let me ask you, this is one of the other topics to talk about is the consoles are running 1080p 60. They don't even deliver real ray tracing. Some are thinking that with Unreal Engine 5, we're going to see Series X and PS5 30 frames rest of generation.
Yes.
Devolve into 30 frames.
Yes.
What did you just say,
We're
Alex?
going
I'm sorry.
We
There
are,
was
we are
like a
going
break in
to
the-
fall back to. Can you hear me now?
No, I'm having a hard time picking you up.
Oh Jesus!
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Are you just
You're
messing
good.
with me?
I'm messing with. If you say something I don't like, it might be the sound breaking up. I'm just joking. Go ahead. Alex.
Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah, we're going back to 30 FPS, baby.
Okay, I'm gonna kick Alex off the show. Thanks for no. Why? Tell me why.
It is happening. Why? Silent Hill 2 remake. The recommended specs for GPU is a 2080.
Okay, that's recommended specs.
At 30
So
FPS.
what are the settings that they're telling you for recommended specs?
30
What's it getting-
FPS.
Recommended doesn't mean anything. It could mean high. It could mean ultra. But I mean,
don't they
the
usually
thing
give
is-
you an idea of what you're going to be running the game at with those recommended specs?
Yeah. Hey,
Sometimes.
let me just pull it up. Let me just pull it up
let's
on
do a
Steam
little
right
investigative
quick.
work.
Here we go. Playing on recommended requirements should enable to play on medium quality settings.
That's
in
okay.
60 FPS
You're used to that.
or high quality settings in 30 FPS. Or full HD 4K using DLSS or similar technology, which means 4K is not 4K.
Right.
The recommended is a 2080 or a 6800 XT for
Okay.
GPU. For CPU, an i7 8700K or a Ryzen 5 3600X. Boys
That
and girls,
sort
we're
of
going back to
Doesn't
30
that sort of
FPS.
sound like kind of close to a PS5 and Series X for
Not even
hardware?
close.
Huh?
Nope.
That CPU
Nope.
isn't close. A Ryzen 5? 8 cores?
3600X? No. Mm-mm. Remember, you guys are on an SoC, a system on a chip.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
So
the same as having a
you have a
separate
shared
processor and
memory
separate
pool.
GPU. Right.
Yeah.
No, that shared memory pool shared everything.
Yeah.
You're on a system on a chip. Your APU is doing all the work. You're not having two separate things. In reality, it's like a 2060 Super GPU, or a 60 or a 5700
For
XT.
VRAM and processing combined, right?
Yeah. So
Okay.
so boys, we're going back to 30.
What about so they're saying medium settings, which is typically
At
what
60.
a console does, right? At
Sometimes
60
lower than
FPS
low.
at what resolution?
Let me see. I just closed the page. There it is. They said it didn't say resolution. It just says medium quality settings in 60 FPS or high quality settings in 30. So my guesstimate is it will be 1440p 30 or it will be 1080p 60.
Doesn't sound like what they typically recommend when we look at a recommended spec sheet, you know.
That's for Silent Hill. But the reason why I picked Silent Hill 2 is because that's Unreal Engine 5.
Ah, there you go. Yeah.
That's why I picked that game specifically.
Yeah.
Yes. And not using older hardware. So that is specifically for that. So that's why.
Why are they pushing things within Unreal Engine 5 like global illumination and things like that?
Yeah,
that are really taxing
nano lighting, or is it like nanite? It's nanite.
Nanite. That's yeah.
So Digital Foundry just talked about this and said that
stuff takes hardware power.
Yes, they use global illumination, which is the lumens part of Unreal Engine 5 that's really, really super demanding. That's why it ran at 30 on consoles on those demos for Matrix Reloaded or whatever they called that. And the Lumen and the Nanites, or whatever that demo was, running at 30 frames on a PS5. But John Linneman was talking about how they can turn that stuff off for the console version and use baked-in lighting. They can use the light maps instead of using the full Lumen system, which is very demanding. But so will developers do that for a console version?
That's one question. The second question is, developers want to save as much time as possible.
Yep.
So why would they do baked-in lighting if they can just do global illumination through nanite?
It's what it looks like Evil West did with their game.
Evil West is strange because on the CPU side, it is asking for a more demanding Intel CPU, but a less demanding AMD CPU. However, GPU side fits. It's like a 1060 or something like that. So I believe that Evil West is going to be CPU bottlenecked, and I think that's the cause of why the resolution and the frame rate is so much lower, because it's going to have a CPU bottleneck somewhere. It's probably going to tax cores 1 and 3 the most on the PC side. And you're probably going to be pinged a lot on that as well. And they're probably going to have shader compilation stutter issues, which are probably going to tax that core as well. So I think it's a CPU bottleneck in that game. I haven't even played it. I just looked at the recommended specs and I can guess what it's going to be.
Because they've brought the resolution down so far to get 60 on the bigger consoles, right?
Or it could be that it's a cross-generational title and they only developed for, last gen consoles and decided to just port them up. And
we've seen this a lot, Alex.
Tweaking.
This is an Unreal Engine 4
Series
game.
X and the PlayStation 5.
Yeah,
this is you're being facetious, Fonz, or if you're being honest.
Dude, just looking at the way it's running on the Series S compared to the
developers
doesn't make
will
sense.
When the developers go to the Xbox, they've got an XDK that gives them the Xbox One S, the Xbox One, One S, Xbox One X, Series S, and Xbox Series X. They have 5 versions they have to port for, and some people have told us that developers will go to the lowest hardware spec first, and then they'll just crank up the settings a little bit to go along with the bigger consoles. And this is why you get something like Evil West running at 1080p 60 on a Series X.
Yeah, but that wouldn't make sense, because then on the PC side, what's the point of newer hardware? You would just buy whatever the lower spec is.
Because the console version is different. The console version, like for PC, they have the recommended and the minimum specs, and then they have this wide gamut for hardware configurations to be on PC. Make sure that you support DirectX 11 and DirectX 12 and OpenGL or whatever, and get the game running on PC. And then you, the user, can set however you want based on your hardware. I need performance. Sure. I need better visuals. I need all this, right? But on the console, you don't have that luxury. So what the developer has to do is they spend all the time making the game. Now they need to make a bespoke version for PlayStation and Xbox. And when they get to the Xbox kit, they have to make 3 to 5 versions, and that really sucks. And what I think you see is they just say, I said this the other day I think I said on your show, Fonz, and Alex, I want you to correct me if I'm wrong. I think some developers look and they say, all right, let's get it 1080p 60 on the Series X, the most powerful Xbox hardware. And they look at it and they go, how does it look? It looks good. How does it run? It runs great. Is it stable? Yes. Ship it. And they're not worried about, we need to be able to push 1440 for everybody because Digital Foundry is going to count the pixels. I don't think developers look that way. They've already done enough work as it is. And then they get to the PlayStation Dev Kit. The PlayStation Dev Kit is way easier for them to use. The Xbox Dev Kit is still tough. So they have a lot of work to do. And I don't think they're lazy. I just think they look at the game and they go, man, this looks really great. It's running great. Ship it. Take it, Alex.
I wonder if they're still forcing UWP for Xbox.
They changed that. I haven't talked about that in a long time. They changed Universal Windows Platform to something else.
UWP, yeah, or something along those lines. Causing
it's a new name. Let me look it up while you're talking.
So I'm wondering if that's the cause. Now I'm not a game developer. I don't know. I'm just a guy on the internet. My thing is, I think also at the same time, it's also the higher engine scales and what you're using. I can get Doom Eternal to run on a toaster. I can get Doom Eternal to run on a 4090, and I can vastly see the difference between each version. So I kind of like see this whole like, we focus on min spec as I'm gonna anger some people. I see it as a crutch, is what I see it as. I see it as here's the amount of bloat we can have in our game to where the hardware can push. And then here's what we're going to do for everybody else. And then if you are on a higher end PC, you're going to use money to pay to fix the problem. Whether it's frame rate stuttering, whether it's shader caching issues or things like that. Mm-hmm. I think a big problem, in fact, is in fact just the engine and its optimization, its use of shaders. The biggest complaint I've had the entire generation so far has been DX12 and shader compilation stutter. Mm-hmm. That's been my biggest Achilles heel. In fact, it's gotten so bad I even moved games to DX11 to avoid DX12 features. Yeah. To avoid shader compilation stutter. But you lose out so much. You lose out on DLSS, all those other things as well. So I'm wondering on what the actual issue is, because the excuse of we have to develop for X many consoles doesn't fly with me when we have so many variances in hardware and driver software in terms of PC setups. So it doesn't make any sense to me, because a capable PC developer will just say, okay, well, we're going to do this this way. We're going to focus on this and we're going to scale it up that way. And you'll see it. Like the meme is, high settings for gameplay, ultra settings for screenshots. No one really plays at ultra settings because it's just the price to performance doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So it really is just like, what are you guys doing? Like, what is your focus? Are you focusing on having 8K resolution textures in the game to try and make the game look pretty? Are you focused on specular lighting? Are you focused on all these other things instead of how are we optimizing the game to best look and run on this piece of hardware? And so that's my thing. I think the two big albatrosses for me are DX12's pipeline and Unreal Engine pipeline. Shader caching. I'm sorry, there's a bug. And so that's my big issue. But to me, it's just the engine you're picking. I just think UE5 is a very bloated engine. I think it's going to be bloated for a long time.
It is still really new. Like right now, they're not getting high performance out of it.
And I think people a lot of developers and artists are going to focus on the visual aspect side of it first before they start optimizing it for gameplay.
So it's a head scratcher when something that looks like Evil West doesn't blow your face off for visuals. It doesn't look like it. It's got GPU accelerated particles, which GPU is even on the old consoles. There's plenty of GPU overhead. So there isn't anything that's going to bring a console to its knees in Evil West, but it's running at 1080p 60 on a PS5 and a Series X. There's definitely a difference there. And one of the things that people aren't ready to talk about is Digital Foundry told us a long time ago, and I've been in agreement with them, that resolution will not matter on PC, on consoles, once DirectML or Super Resolution or DLSS or FSR, right? Once you use these things, when a game says it runs at 1080p 60, like Evil West, if they're using FSR, that's just the native resolution that they're outputting. And the games are going to look great. And I think there's a reason why we need to stop counting resolution pixels and start worrying about the quality settings, the shadows, the texture filtering, all of that stuff that makes a game look better, not the little edges that get upscaled on a 4K TV. Fonz, what do you think about that?
I'm sorry, guys. I called it. Evil West is a Unreal Engine 4 game.
Yes, it is.
Called it.
So it's Unreal Engine
also,
4. So, yeah, again, I think that Wild
doesn't
Hog,
make any sense.
the developer here, just missed the mark big time, because I'm looking at the specs and stuff, and I'm seeing people talking about it on these forums, and they're just like all confused, like, what are they doing? Why is the Series S running the same as the 1S? Like,
that doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense at all. 1080p 30.
The 2016 Xbox One S, Alex, is running the same
6-year-old tech.
The same thing. You've got a Jag Core 1S with 1.5 teraflops of compute. I know teraflops don't matter, but just to compare the compute.
Don't bring that T word in this house.
Well, yes, let's not bring the T word. How hold on, Fonz. How do I explain the VRAM power in the 1S? I don't think
VRAM is VRAM. There's no VRAM power. VRAM is just
how much VRAM is in 1S? I don't remember. But the power differential in GPU power and processing compared to Series S, it's a big difference. They're running at the same resolution and frame rate target. Something doesn't
So basically what we're looking at is so your total shading units are 768 shaders.
My knee-jerk reaction was they didn't try, right? But at the end of the day, I know there's things behind the scenes when you're creating a game. There's so many variables. You've got budget, you've got time constraints, you've got manpower. There's so much to think about there. But whatever it is, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's gimped on consoles, and I don't know why, especially for the Series X. But
if you bought a Series S for $300, you weren't trying to brag to your cousin and everybody on Twitter about what resolution and frame rate you're getting out of your console. You bought the thing because it's a low-cost entry. There's people that buy really small budget PCs.
I'd argue that they would talk about some of that stuff.
Evil West will be patched to 60 on Series S in 3 months. But I think. Alex, what were you going to say about that when I was
waiting? A lot of waiting.
It's also a Focus Home Interactive game.
Mm-hmm.
And Focus Home Interactive are not the best.
Did you play Shadow Warrior 3?
Yeah. I lambasted that game.
I blew through it in like 2 days, but did you notice the glory kills were so strikingly dollar store compared to Doom? Like, it was strikingly obvious when
not even just that, like again, like that game was so bloated in so many like crazy ways that didn't make any sense of why it didn't run properly.
Mm-hmm. I enjoyed it.
It's just that same thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Shout out to 800 people watching. Show the like button. Show us something.
Show that like button.
Just
push it.
Just
show the like button.
That button.
Bop it. Pull it.
Danny Passion Official says that it's getting boring, guys. This topic, I guess.
Well. Hey, sorry, Danny.
Oh yeah, shut up.
Oh, Cloaked Onyx wants to see the new Fable game at the Game Awards. I'm gonna say, hey, I don't think so. Hargit says Nanite requires Lumen and Lumen requires ray tracing.
There's ray tracing.
Doesn't Lumen require? Isn't Lumen's global illumination ray tracing? I guess it's sort of the same. Yeah. He says, I'm concerned with UE5. Until they show me 60 FPS, I'm skeptical. I hope it can be done, but not hopeful. Assassin said, what's up, XC family? How's everyone feeling about those Game of the Year nominees? And why is Stray going to win? Yeah, you missed that. We made fun of the cat game for quite a while. Anyone still think there's a Sony bias or not? Fonz, is there a Sony bias, or is it just they put out games and Xbox didn't? Let's hear your thoughts.
I think when it comes to it, it's those journalists that nominated the games and it's what they like, and like I was saying earlier, Sony has just got that winning formula, and they seem to love those types of games, man, and that is what gets nominated pretty much every time, every year. If there's a Sony third-person action adventure, guaranteed it's going to be nominated. It's going to be nominated every year,
unless it stays gone.
For some reason, that game got crapped on so hard, and I thought it was unfair. I thought it was a decent game. I enjoyed it.
What's your game of the year?
I take that back. I enjoyed it, but it did have that time period where you're playing that game and it didn't really start to get going until like 8 hours in or whatever, like the story anyway, didn't really open up. But besides the point, I love the gameplay loop in that game. It was fun.
Yeah, it was good. It's an ancient game now. It's 3 years old or 3-4 years. We can't talk about it anymore. Alex, what's your game of the year? What's your personal game of the year so far?
Elden Ring.
Elden Ring. Fonz, what's yours?
Didn't even think about it.
So far, Elden Ring. I'll see after I beat God of War. We should be done with it sometime, probably this weekend.
Okay.
Then I'll find out. I'll make my. I don't know how long is that. You know, I don't usually vote for that stuff, but how long do those open for anyway?
I voted, and the nominations were like best game with a third-person perspective, best game with the PlayStation logo at the beginning, best game that has. No, I'm just joking.
Best content creator.
Someone's gonna clip that, bro.
I know. No, actually,
that's gonna get clipped.
The joke, what
best thumbnail in the game. I voted for Zocker 86.
Zocker.
Yep.
There were some weird nominations, like best art direction that utilized, or what was one of them? Best video game that was adapted to a TV or a movie and or had Ellie in it, like that sort of thing. I was like, oh my gosh. I don't know. It's just sort of weird. I got like halfway through the voting. I'm like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. And
best esports team.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Best esports coach, best esports laundry person for the towels that they use, and Fonz. Thank you so much for being on the show. I had a good time. We got to hang out all weekend.
It's always a good, it's always a good time to hang out with you, and of course, Alex. Man, it's awesome. And I'm gonna get off here, eat some dinner, and then play a little God of War before bed.
You pony, I love it. Alex,
Go.
You're gonna hit 34,000 subs, right? So brag about what you're doing next. Like, tell us what your plan is. You probably already hit it. I'll go check.
No, that's all right. I'm like 58
You're like,
away.
Don't look.
Yeah, I'm not gonna look. I stopped looking. So this week we got some PC port reviews. Pentiment PC port review is going to be out on Wednesday. Also PC port reviews for Valkyrie Elysium, and then I've got how to mod Skyrim on your Steam Deck, which I'm going to do that as well. So I got that guide, and then of course Friday somebody's going to do something stupid on Thursday, so I got to make a video. And then Saturday I'm going to live stream as well. So that's I put my entire week up on Twitter. So you guys can catch my schedule there. And I'm very like, I'm to it. Like I stick to it.
The YouTube has that new feature where I start to write your name and it puts your channel link because they have the handle thing now. So that's in the description if you want to go hit the sub to Alex and Fonz. They're both in there. We got a big super chat from Silent Cypher who says, a $50 super chat. He says, awesome to see Alex on the show. Colt, Alex, what do we get if a 50 hits in Colt's show? Thanks for the awesome content, gentlemen.
What happens is that Colt Eastwood has to take off his shirt. Take it off, Colt. That's the rule. Colt has to take off his shirt. Do it, Colt.
That would be so bad.
Bomb drop, Colt.
That would be so bad.
It's the end of the show. Take it off.
I'll see if I can figure out a way to get this off. But
no. He dropped a 50 on you, bro. Take it off.
You guys want Alex to take his shirt off or Colt Eastwood?
No. It's not my show. It's not my stream. It's not my stream.
Oh, I love it.
What? Take it off, Colt.
One more. Danny Passion Official says it was a secret. Fonz. Laugh out loud. Great show. Yeah. We're getting out of here before Alex makes me do something.
Wait a minute. Colt Eastwood is turning off his camera to not take off his shirt for the 50.
Wait, I think Fonz bounced. Hold on, let me look.
Ladies and gentlemen, there are how many people viewing right now? Hold on a second, buddy. Hold on a second. There's 736 people. A man came into your stream and dropped $50 of his hard-earned money. You're not even going to give them what they pay for, Colt. Can you? Chat. Listen, chat. Colt's got to take off his shirt.
Oh my
Colt.
Gosh.
Do it, Colt.
Scooter says Colt has salami nips.
He gave Colt Eastwood, he gave you $50 of his hard-earned money throughout the week, and you're going to deny this man what he paid for?
I am not ready for this. I am not ready for this.
He gave you $50 of his hard-earned job money, and you're going to sit here and deny him what he paid for. Colt, this is your show. This is your stream. This is not me. I'll do it on my stream in a heartbeat. I even have music for it, Colt.
You do? What music do you play?
So then if you're gonna do it, you got to play this music. It is called "You Got That."
You got that?
I'll put it in the chat. I'll put it in the chat for you. Hold on. Here. I even gave you the copyright-free version. Hold on. Let me get it for you. Hold on. So if you do this, you got to play it.
I've got us flipped on the screen, but I can't do it.
You can do it. No, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Here, I'll put it in the chat for you. Where is it? I'll put it in the text channel. It's in the text channel. You go ahead and play that, Colt. Let's see this thing.
I can't play that.
You got to see this thing, Colt. You got to see this thing. Let's go, Colt Eastwood. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys dropped a $50 dono, and Colt Eastwood is not going to hit you with the "You Got That"?
I think, let me read this again. Wait, you made up that rule. I have to check with my lawyers. Yeah.
Your lawyers say it's okay because the thing is, it's your YouTube channel. You can do whatever you want. But the thing is, a man came in here and gave you $50, Colt Eastwood.
No, it's amazing. Looks like they're cutting me off, though.
Play the song and take off the shirt.
You have to give me 1 month. 1 month to work out really hard.
He gave you the money now. Fast. Just take it off and then cut the stream.
I can't do it. All right, guys, we're heading out of here.
Money now.
I can't deal with you right now. I do not look good. Hey, thanks for
Silent Ciphers. My channel every Saturday. You drop a 50, shirt's coming off, and we're dancing.
Alex, thanks so much for being on here, bro. We got to do this again. And I will be ready. I will be ready. We're getting out of here.
So look, next 50, I better see a clip, chat.
You're actually Colt Eastwood on the stream right now, and I'm Gaz because I didn't have another layout. But
perfect.
We're awesome. We're getting out of here, guys. Thanks for everything, and we'll see you next week.